everybody, this is Petra Monaco with the Rebels Den, and with me I have Kyle Richards from Gravebound. Welcome.
Hello, how's it going?
So if you don't know, I was able to interview Gravebound a while back in Charlottesville at a local show to me, which was fun and exciting.
Yeah.
And we had a brief conversation about some of the changes and some of the stuff you guys were doing. But I want to talk about the more obvious things, is that you guys had a lineup change going on.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, we parted ways with our previous vocalist, and we recently announced that I actually am moving from guitar and vocals to frontman. And to replace me, we tagged on our buddy Joe to play bass, which we are all collectively in a previous project together. I want to say 5-6 years ago off the top of my head, but
so it's sort of like coming full circle in a weird way, right?
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So I know what you sound like on vocals, because I had the pleasure of hearing you a few times when I was out in Richmond, and you kind of let it go. And I was like, wow, where'd that come from? Who knew?
Surprise, right?
It was, because I feel like you've done this, but it was more new for other people that are not aware that you can actually pull this off quite well.
Yeah, I do. I have some like solo stuff on the side that I've put out that some people have heard. So, I mean, the ability's there, but now I have a much bigger platform to, explore.
Well, I'm excited to see what's happening. So
Yeah.
right now, talking with the drummer here and there, you guys are working on something new. Go ahead and share a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we actually just finished up a song. We got it mixed and mastered, and we are in the process of scheduling a video shoot for it. We were supposed to shoot last week, I want to say, but our director got caught up with something, so we're aiming to do that early next month, I want to say. But as soon as that's done, we're going to drop it. We're going to drop the video. You'll be able to hear the new sound, all that stuff. So
So with the lineup changes, are you sticking with the sound that we know from Gravebound, or are you shifting slightly? Because I know you guys before Gravebound.
Yeah, right.
And then you get this whole rebrand thing.
Yeah.
So are you sticking with that, or are you guys shifting a little bit?
So we are going to, for the most part, we're going to stay with the, standard metalcore, if you want to call it that. But this first single we experimented a little bit. We kind of went a little bit more into like the pop rock realm for this one. It still has heavy elements and like heavy parts, but this next one, I'm just going to let you guys know it's a bit more sing heavy, but that's the one that we have done for now. But we actually just started working on a second new song, and it's much, much heavier, and it'll be much more familiar, like sound wise, that like our fans would know. So
yeah, well, I don't think there's anything wrong with having some more singing here and there every now and again, right? Because I mean, I can't scream. I want to sing along, so there's that.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, it's not necessarily like because we had a vocalist change. Like I have the ability to do, metal vocals, if you want to call it that. But
yes, you do.
Yeah, we were sitting on this song for a while, actually. Like we were working on it with our previous singer as well, and it's just more of a poppy. We were listening to a lot of different artists, and wanted to see what would happen, test the waters with this a little bit. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, we have super heavy stuff coming too.
Yeah, I love that. So I know when we've talked previously, there was sort of a heavy emphasis on like mental health, right? Like, that was just that, and I'm not against it. I'm pro mental health. Any kind of message we can get out for support, that's cool. Are you guys sticking with that, or
absolutely. I mean, if you feel like you need to talk to somebody or you need help, I mean, don't hesitate to reach out to whoever like applicable. You're not alone in that. Everyone faces like their inner challenges. Like it's no joke. But yeah, I mean, if I am all for, obviously, like if people need help, please get it. Don't hesitate. all that stuff. I don't know if the message is going to be exactly the same, but the general base of what we were going for is still going to be there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love to see it. I mean, I don't think every song needs to be about that, clearly.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, we're definitely going
that,
to, from a music standpoint, we're going to not veer away, but we're not going to have that focal point anymore. It'll still be there, but like this next song, for example, is not necessarily about that. But we'll see. Yeah.
Well, I think you have to mix it up too a little bit. I mean, there's, for me as somebody who writes every day, there's only so many things I can write about achieving your goals.
Correct.
I have to write about
100% right.
So the premise is still the same. I still do the same. So I get that. I mean, I'm excited to see what. I can't wait.
It's the new material, new content. Now that we have like more of an open avenue, I guess, in terms of what we are writing about. It's going to push the envelope a little bit. It's going to maybe push some buttons with some people, but I mean, in the end, like I said, the general thing that we were doing will still be there for the majority of this stuff. So there's nothing going to change there.
I think for the purpose of growth and forward movement, you have to push buttons. You have to push the envelope, if you will, just a little bit, right? Like otherwise you
100%.
Otherwise you're going to just stay where you are.
Yeah, you can't put out the same content 25 times, like
right.
It has to be different.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see what the growth and what kind of buttons you're pushing.
It's going to be interesting for sure.
I'm going to watch from the sidelines. That's what's happening.
Yes. No, we're not going to get that controversial, but some people might feel differently about XYZ than some other people, We'll see what happens.
But I think from the music perspective, that's what music does.
Yeah.
I can think of a ton of bands in my head right now going, well, they're pushed the envelope for the last 30 years. Like,
yeah, and for the last 30 years, exactly. Like that should tell you enough. Like you have to break barriers and push boundaries in order to succeed, especially nowadays. It's super competitive. So,
Well, there's competitive and there's also bands that have, if they don't talk about mental health, they may have a political message and they may have some other message, whatever the other message is. Again, going back, thinking back 30 years, there's a particular band they're very what their message is, no matter what song they're playing.
Yep.
And I think that's okay, but and you can identify that.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that's you guys' sound. If you're sticking to that, then 10, 20 years from now, we will. Oh, that's Gravebound. That's sort of the intro or whatever.
Yeah, that's the end game for sure. We want to be remembered for doing something different. We don't want to be another cookie cutter artist that is doing the same thing as everyone else. So again, it all comes back down to we'll see what happens. We'll see how people respond to the change and the different routes that we're going to be taking,
Yeah. So from a band perspective, you guys are a group. So trust me, I understand catering to your fan base, truly. But how much does that matter in terms of the message you're trying to share when it comes to your music? Where do you guys find that line of this is for the bands and this is for us as musicians, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you. So right now we're not a internationally famous band, so we're not going to be doing anything that's blatantly separating one person from another person. We're going to keep everything relatively for both, for the band and for the listeners. We're not really at the point yet to where we can be like, okay, fuck you, we're going to do whatever we want to do.
Yeah.
Which, to an extent, of course, but we're going to,
because you're still going to draw a specific fan base.
Right. Yeah. It's all about, branching out to as many different people as possible and finding all of those outlets to appease to everybody, essentially. So we're not going to be doing anything like hardcore politics or anything like that. We're going to keep everything very open, very, that kind of deal.
Sure. Yeah. Right. There's nothing wrong. I think catering to your fan base, in my business, I cater to my ideal market Otherwise, I don't have clients.
Yeah, that's how it works, unfortunately.
So there's that.
Yeah.
Anything else, you guys? I mean, I know. So you're now on vocals.
Correct.
Johnny is still doing the drum thing and some other shenanigans he's got going.
Yeah, he does something for this band for sure. Is it just drums?
Yeah.
So aside from that, I'm the only one of the original members that are still here that changed. James is still going to be doing guitar. He's going to be doing a lot more vocally, especially in a live scenario, because he's going to have to do what I was doing previously, like backup stuff. But I don't know. I mean, our new guy, Joe, he's very talented in the vocal department as well. So we'll see what we can incorporate there. Yeah, live show is going to be a blast. It's going to be a little different. But I'm looking forward to whatever the future holds for that. And I'm looking forward to playing live again whenever it's appropriate to.
Yeah, same. I went to one show and it's like, oh my God. This is so much, you know?
Yeah, it's been a while. So I'm anxious to get back out there. Like, and just going to shows in general. Like, not even just playing them. I'm playing it safe for now, but, you know.
Yeah, I totally got that. I actually ran into Johnny the other day because I was out in Richmond for an event. So yeah, so you guys not reaching out, you're still playing a little more safe than there's bands out there that are booking and playing and doing. So you guys still play it a little bit more safe?
So we've been reached out to a handful of times regarding playing again, but as of right now, especially in Richmond, I think there are only a handful of venues that are doing shows again. So until that changes, like until other venues open back up and are like, hey, we're going to start doing stuff again, regardless of like capacities and all that stuff, we're going to hold off until things get better. Hopefully it'll be sooner rather than later, but we did just sign on to a possible show in November, you know, barring circumstances. So that could tentatively be the first one, but we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I can't fault anybody for playing it a little bit more safe these days.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to, but I mean, like, everyone's anxious. I'm just as anxious as any other musician to get back out there, but like, is it worth the risk? Like,
the fans definitely, like, I can see it, you know, like on social media and talking to people, like, they miss the shows. I mean, I do. I miss the shows. I'd much rather do these interviews in person than I do the online, you know? It's just it's way more fun doing them in person for me. And so I'm like, oh, I can't wait. And at the same time, I'm like, oh no, like, you know, I'm a mom of a kid with some extra health needs. And so I'm like, I have to be a little bit more careful about this kind of stuff, even though he went to Richmond at the show.
As long as you're like taking care of yourself and making sure that you're doing your part to stay safe, that shouldn't stop you, you know.
There's definitely a balance. Well, you know, we went to one show and we went self-quarantine again for 10 days just out of precaution for his benefit and anybody else's.
Yeah, I appreciate that and I respect that. That's huge that you're able to do that. So
finding that balance. Well, and I know for me, like, I work from home, so pandemic didn't do a thing. Right?
Nothing changed.
Nothing changed other than my kids home from school. Everyone's like, "How you doing?" I'm like, "I'm great."
Test your patience there.
My life didn't change. But how about for you guys? Like, I know some of you got jobs, you have the band, shows are being canceled. How have you guys managed so far for this? I feel like it's important to talk about because there's so many musicians that have taken their stuff online. They've tried to figure out how to still make money. The fans are complaining about, you know, donation jars, and I'm like, people, it's art. Pay for it.
Yeah. Right? For some people, this is their, you know, their livelihood, like their source of income. It's
absolutely.
Fortunately for us, I mean, right at this stage, we aren't prioritizing this as our, you know, way to survive. So the whole pandemic thing definitely sucked. Like, we had right as this whole thing started, we had a weekend run lined up with a buddy band of ours, and we ended up playing one of the 3 shows that we had because they got canceled because it was right when COVID, you know, started. Well, they said it started escalating. I don't know when the whatever. Anyways, but yeah, and I mean, between that and soon after that, we had the whole lineup mystery that was happening. So it's been pretty stressful. I mean, obviously we're coming out of the tunnel in terms of like figuring our situation out, but unfortunately, things going on in the world and like this country and stuff, it's still not there yet to where like we can really push to get this new stage out, like this new phase of Gravebound out. So yeah, I mean, it's been a lot. It's been a lot to process, and I never thought I would see something like this in my lifetime yet, at least,
Oh, I get that. Trust me. I'm like, oh, what?
It's unreal.
To the States. It is. Like, I've never even considered living through this ever.
I mean, but it's life, we have to deal with it. Like, it's like, we can't change it individually right now.
I mean, people, I can't donate blood ever because I'm from Europe and I live I'm from Germany, and mad cow disease was a thing in the 80s. And because I lived through the 80s in Europe, they're like, oh yeah, you can give blood. And I'm like, I'm from Germany, nothing.
Yeah, I mean, that's silly, but I mean, it is what it is, like there's nothing we could do to change it. Like,
but again, it's that whole precaution thing. I feel like there's still, like, for me, sort of like a message of taking care, right? Like, what else can, but there's other things I can do. So there's that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Just do whatever you can in the midst of all of this stuff. This is going out to you and everybody. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Do whatever you can. Stay safe. Don't put others at risk, regardless. I mean, barring extreme circumstances, like take care of yourself. Cover up, please. Social distance. All the same stuff you've heard 10,000 times. Like, if you want things to get back to normal and you want music, from a music perspective, you want shows to happen regularly again, like, you have to do this. Like, it's not a choice at this point if you want any sense of normalcy to return,
Yeah.
Sucks to say that, but
no, but I think you're right. Like, I'm just watching what's happening where the kids are going back to school, and then guess what? You're not going to school.
And I don't think that's happening anytime soon. They'll hype it up until the last minute. They'll be like, oh, just kidding.
I know. My kids' school, they've already said they're doing virtual, and I'm like, good, because he wasn't going to go.
Yeah, it's definitely.
I wasn't going to say no.
You got to put humanity first before like financial needs or like anything like that. Like, it's not safe. I mean, if it's not safe, don't try and do something.
Well, and if those board meetings happening on virtual, then obviously in person can't happen. And so you have your board meetings in person.
Yeah, exactly. Love that. Yeah. Yep. That's a great mindset.
So that's just my thoughts on that.
Love it. Yeah. Perfect.
Well, where can people find you guys and check you out and all that jazz?
I mean, obviously social media, we have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I think we have a Snapchat too, but it's all some variation of Gravebound or Gravebound Band, RVA. Facebook would have the link tree that we would have for all that stuff. Gravebound.com. That's another way to just find everything. YouTube, I mean, we're all over the place. Hit any of us up individually as a band, doesn't matter.
Cool. You guys have any merch ready for sale, or is that sort of like,
Yeah, so on our website, I want
people to support you guys.
Yeah, hey, I appreciate that. Yeah, we still have a ton of merch from pre-pandemic I mean, we're not itching to move it right this second, but I mean, yeah, if you want to go to gravebound.com, we have a merch store there. Check out whatever we have: shirts, bags, CDs, etc. And we're gonna get some new articles as soon as we're able to, as soon as it makes sense to, because like I said, we still have a decent amount. So
awesome. Well, listen, Kyle, thank you so much for taking your time to check with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get this on the blog and YouTube and do all the links.
Yes, I appreciate you having me. It's been fun.
Yeah, it's been a minute, right? So
yeah, for sure.
Coming on again, and I can't wait for the live show, whenever that will be.
I'm right there with you, my friend.
I will be there.
Yes. All right. Beautiful.
All right, man. You have a good night.
Thank you. Same to you. Bye.
Bye.